1 in 3. That's how many American men will face physical violence, sexual assault, or stalking by an intimate partner. 1 in 3 women worldwide will endure physical or sexual abuse, most often by someone they know. But domestic abuse isn't just bruises. It's manipulation, it's fear, it's control that seeps into every part of your life. I'm Ingrid Dutton, and I survived it. Then I created 1 in 3 so no one else has to suffer in silence. Each week, we break that silence together. Occasionally joined by survivors, loved ones, and experts, we talk about the pain, yes, but also about the healing, resilience, and the fight to reclaim your life. This podcast is more than awareness, it's a lifeline. And a reminder, you are seen, you are heard, you are never alone. Search for 1 in 3 wherever you get your podcasts, because every voice matters and every story deserves to be heard. Thanksgiving in the United States is a time when families travel from near and far to enjoy good food, good company, engaging conversations, and relaxation. Sometimes we hear about family disagreements or even feuds. We are presenting you with one of the most notorious family feuds for your enjoyment while you travel to your family, anticipate your family arriving, or bask in your peaceful solitude. Hi there and welcome.
Hi, welcome to you too. My name is Jessica.
Welcome to another situation. My name is Ingrid.
And this is Sweaty Balls.
Again.
That's times 2. Yeah, that's Ingrid. I'm Jessica.
Hi.
Feud to feud. Did you ever want to go on Family Feud? Like, that's been one of my...
Yes. Family Feud and Double Dare.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. We could still go on Family Feud.
Just you and me?
We need 5. So I think we should pick... I don't think Mom would be good on the spot.
No. Mm-mm.
I mean, I think Craig would have good answers. I think Bobby would be good.
Who would be the two? Who would be the two that do like the lightning round?
Me and you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Who would go first?
Oh, probably you.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
Because I get too tunnel visioned. If you already picked the answer, I'd be like, I don't know anything else.
Yeah. Family Feud.
Family Feud. Okay, so I am doing, like I said, one of the most notorious, the Hatfields and the McCoys. And
ooh, that's a heavy one. Big one, I mean.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think it was that big because it has been so, I was going to say commercialized.
Convoluted.
And I mean, there are so many things. Did you know that the show Family Feud was actually, well, okay. So first of all, I don't know how accurate this is, but I did hear this on one of the podcasts I listened to. But the Family Feud was designed because of, or maybe named because of the Hatfield versus McCoys.
Really? Huh.
And the Hatfields actually were on versus the McCoys.
Shut up.
And they had a pig on the set.
Because that's how it started, right? Who won?
Well, we'll go into that. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe you could say this is why you procrastinated and this episode has been delayed. I'm trying to give you an out.
No, it 100% is. I had no idea what I was getting into when I said I was going to do the Hatfields versus McCoys. Or not even versus, and I had no idea.
I knew.
And she didn't tell me.
Nope, sure didn't.
Well, so some of the other things from Hatfields and McCoys, there's actually a dinner show in Pigeon Forge where Dolly would, oh gosh.
Virginia?
Dolly Parton.
Oh, Tennessee.
No, Tennessee, man.
Who knows where Pigeon Forge is?
I do. That's where Dollywood is.
Okay.
Seaverville. She was born there. I love Dolly. Okay. So because of the Hatfields and McCoys, there's been the Family Feud show. There's been the mini series back in 2012, was it?
Was it that long ago?
I don't know. And then, was it who initially aired it? The History Channel?
Well, I didn't think it was a History Channel, but my husband said it was a History Channel. Like, I thought it was like TNT or like TBS or something, you know?
That's all like the same thing, right? There's been lots of podcasts. There's been different books. And so anyway, because of all of that, it actually was really difficult to get accurate information. I'll go through my resources quick. I got a lot from different podcasts. So there's a podcast called West Virginia Talk Podcast, and season 2, episodes 10 and 11. Infamous America, season 16, episodes 1 through 6. There's Tenfold More Wicked Words, episode number 22. And
what? She covered that? I love her.
She actually...
Kate Dawson, right?
Yes.
And Kate Winkler Dawson.
She actually interviewed the author to the book that I used for the huge bulk of information for this. So Dean King was on episode 22, and Dean King is the author for The Feud, that Hatfields and McCoy's The True Story.
Huh.
And listening to all of these, I actually started, I'm not going to mention this podcast, but I started listening to a different podcast, and I had already listened to the other ones. I had started reading this book, and the presentation of this podcast that I was listening to was very condescending about the people involved, and I didn't like it. It might be humorous to other people. I didn't like it. I stopped listening to it, so I won't even name it.
Interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, there's been different cartoons, and it's really been
like Elmer Fudd.
Maybe I don't remember. I saw that there was a Bugs Bunny thing that was like alluding to this. I think there was even a Scooby-Doo mystery that was. Yeah. So there's been a lot, and it's kind of, the story's sort of turned into a caricature, kind of the way everybody looks at it, and I think that's probably what I thought too. I didn't really know the true story. Before I got into all of this, my thought was just a bunch of like hillbillies fighting each other. And I was thinking like Beverly Hillbillies, just them fighting each other. And doing this, and more specifically, you're like reading Dean King's book, it really brings a light to like, this was actually people. And it was really, really quite devastating. The whole story, and it's kind of heartbreaking.
I'm excited.
I'm nervous because now that I've given my resources, I really want to once again reiterate, there is so much information on this, and there are so many different stories and different versions of this, and I hope I can tell this okay. I won't say that I did a lot of research, because all I did was listen to things and read things, but I know that I'm like singing this guy, Dean King's praises, but he actually went to locations. He actually spoke with family, and he found old records, and he did a lot of digging to try to get the most accurate information for this book. And it's actually a really good book too.
What was the name of it?
It's the feud, the Hatfields and McCoys, the true story by Dean King. And I'll admit, when I first started reading it, I was kind of overwhelmed and I couldn't focus, hence part of the procrastination. And I felt like I had to keep going back and rereading. But that was just my brain. I love history. I can't read it, which is strange because when I learn about like medicine or anything else, I have to read it. I have to see it on paper. But this is when I started listening to podcasts, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then I was able to go back and actually just read the book. And it's really good. I will. So let me start with, I'm going to just describe the geography a little bit at first, because you do need to sort of understand this part. So this all occurs in like Appalachia. So, the Appalachia, the Appalachian Mountains. Appalachian.
You're supposed to say it like Appalachia.
But it's the Appalachian Mountains.
Sure.
Appalachian?
I don't know. Appalachia.
Okay. We are not taking
Appalachian.
Okay. Those mountains are the oldest mountains in the United States. And in the winter, you could actually, this feud actually dates from 1865 to 1890. So, and I'm sure probably even now you've run into some road troubles, but there could be 2 to 3 feet of snow over a winter. And during the winter, you can actually get locked in to locations there. But in the spring and the summer, it sounds like it was the most beautiful place in the world. With the rain, you had fresh fish. You had fish. And
wait, which part of the Appalachian Mountains?
So we're talking about Kentucky, and back then it was just Virginia. Well, actually, a little bit preceding this, it was just Virginia. So there's the Sandy Hook River, which branches into the Tug River, and the Tug River helps create part of the border between Kentucky and which is now West Virginia, but at the time, again, it was just Virginia.
Ah, okay.
And so there's fish, there are berries or pawpaws, frogs, turtles.
There's what?
Pawpaws. So pawpaw trees produce a local fruit that's kind of a cross between, it's like citrusy, mango-y. Yeah. P-A-W.
I've never had one.
So
my kids have a pawpaw though.
Well, that's a pawpaw. That's not a pawpaw.
I know. Sorry,
right,
I'll stop interjecting.
Spring and the summer, there's just so much for them to take. Again, berries, frogs, turtles, fish. They were able to grow corn, wheat, sorghum, cotton, and so much forest. And I didn't write the time frame. I want to say it was until 1912, but I can't even remember. But it was so much like dense, humongous trees. There are photos in the book that I can't share because the book's obviously copyrighted. But there are photos in this book of men standing on stumps or next to these felled trees. They're just gigantic. And at one point, there were 16 million acres of forest. That in a short, yes, but in a short time, it went down to 1.5 million.
Oh, that's sad.
It's really sad, but that was one of the, it's all mountainous there. So it's difficult to really farm. You couldn't make a living farming because the terrain is just not that suitable for it. But all of these forests, they learned, lumber. And the river's right there. So they're able to send these trees down the river. And it was just a huge source of income for them. But it just sounds absolutely beautiful. So Kentucky is to the south of the Tug River. Virginia, which ended up becoming West Virginia, is to the north of the Tug River. At that time, men were their land, fathers would pass land on to their children. So they would divide it up amongst their children. And so that's the geography. So now I want to go into talking about the Hatfields and McCoys. So part of the reason this story is so confusing is because there is so much intermarrying between the Hatfields and McCoys and within the Hatfields and within the McCoys. And so many people have the same name or similar names, and it was truly confusing. What really helped is, again, in this book, there's a, it's not the tree of life. What is that called?
Like a genogram?
Family tree.
Family tree? Genogram. That's a therapy thing.
Okay. So it's a family tree. So that was helpful, but it still was very confusing. So I wrote down key players that I'll kind of refer to. And if I get myself motivated enough, I'll try to put this into like some sort of document and post it on our social media because it is very confusing with the names. But so let's talk about the McCoys. So in this book, it starts with William McCoy, who was born in 1750. And the McCoys are of Scottish heritage. And they settled in the Tug Valley in about 1804 when William McCoy received 200 acres of land for service in the Revolutionary War. And so, again, he passed that on to his children and so on and so on. The McCoys were described as socially democratic. They believed in equality of all men, intensely believed in equality of all men. They were austere. They did not like handouts. They did not believe in receiving charity. They were very kind to their neighbors, but they would rather do without and starve than accept a handout from someone.
Ugh.
Despite their hospitality, they
hospitably.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. They had a very narrow or flaming temper. What's the word? Shorts. God.
Flaming temper actually narrowed it down pretty well.
Well, yeah, but they did. They had a short temper, and they would tell others, do not cross the McCoys. They settled mostly in the Pike County area of Kentucky. So the Hatfields are of English heritage, and they settled Western Virginia in 1770. And Ephraim, who is referred to, it's spelled EPH, but it's pronounced Eph of all, which I kind of like that. He's Eph of all. He's kind of the dad who ended up having everybody. He was born in 1765. And the Hatfields are described as tall and muscular, with a good share of brains and willpower, high-spirited, kind, neighborly, and just to all who treat them just. That's the Hatfields. So the Hatfields and McCoys, they settled on both sides of the Tug River, and they ended up actually intermarrying within themselves and within the families, and they became gigantic. They were large numbers. I mean, these husband and wife would have 10 plus children, and those children would have 10 plus children. So gigantic. They were friends, they were relatives, they were business partners, and so much so that in 1849, they went and petitioned for Virginia to expand their border to include the Tug River Valley, because they thought it was an inconvenience that the Tug River actually separated the two states. And so they were trying to be more inclusive with each other. But that did not happen. The beginning of the feud, like I said, it's dated about 1865 to 1890, but historians don't agree on what the actual initiation of the feud was. So I'll just kind of go through key events that were part of the feud or maybe contributed to the feud. So number one is the Civil War. It was 1861 to 1865. And Virginia that's the whole part of the West Virginia border. So it was only Virginia seceded from the Union in 1861. And initially, Kentucky remained neutral. However, they joined the Union in 1862. And
did they really?
They did. And West Virginia did not agree with Virginia. So they wanted to secede from Virginia. So West Virginia became its own state in 1863 and aligned itself with the Union.
No kidding.
Yes. Once again, there's a lot of hand gestures happening here.
There are. I didn't know that, though.
Yes. Huh. However, so West Virginia seceded from Virginia. So Virginia seceded from the Union, then West Virginia seceded from Virginia. However, the southern part of West Virginia still remained Confederate. Okay. As of note, in 1862, it became illegal to distill whiskey without a federal license. And yes, and that's important because being of Scottish English heritage, that was a big part of their livelihood, not just to imbibe in, but it was whiskey was used for medicinal purposes as well.
Why in 1862 is that outlawed?
Why? I don't know why.
Oh, I don't know. You did so much research. You had so much time.
All the research. I know. Shut up.
I will look into it and I will find out and I will report back.
Okay. So
that's interesting, though. In the middle of the Civil War, you know?
It is kind of weird that it happens at that point. But so one of the key players is Devil Anse. Now, I've heard his name. I'm going to get into his name. This is what's great. This is what's great about this is there are so many nicknames to everybody. So I heard his name is Anderson Hatfield and then just Anse. So Anse. So I'm not sure if it's Anderson that was shortened to Anse or what. But quick story of how this kid got his name is he was young. He was out hunting and he was a great hunter. And he had shot a buck, but I don't think he really fully wounded it. And his hunting dogs went tearing after the deer. And he thought, my God, I'm going to lose my dogs. So he went running after the dogs. And it's mountainous, rough terrain. And, he's tripping, he's falling and whatever. And he finally gets to a point where he's kind of just taking a rest. And he notices this big black bear that's just sort of laying down. I think it doesn't say for sure if it's sleeping or not. It's just as it's sort of like sprawled out. Sounds like it's probably sleeping. So he thought, oh my gosh, this bear can bring my family so much food and can provide so much for my family. So he goes to get his bullets and he realizes they're gone. And he must have dropped them when he tripped and fell at one point. And he's mad. And he's standing there and he's getting more and more mad because here's his deer. He's never killed a deer before. And here he is.
Bear?
Bear, not a deer. Okay. He's never killed a bear before. Here he is, one just right there. And he doesn't have the means to do it. And so he works himself up into this just anger. So then he runs down toward the bear with his hands flailing in the air and he's screaming and he smacks the smacks the bear in his rear end. And it freaks the bear out where it takes it by surprise. So this is why I think it's sleeping, and it runs up this tree. So now he's standing at the bottom of the tree. The bear is at the top of the tree. Why am I saying tree? The bear's at the top of the tree. He's at the bottom of the tree. There is a stare down, and he's not budging. The bear's not budging.
But he has
So
nothing to fight the bear with.
he doesn't. So he's just standing there and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to let this bear go. So his dad is, so Eve of all is his great grandfather, I think. And Big Eve is his dad. So eventually some family members show up, cousins show up, they go back, they get Big Eve. Big Eve comes back. He has a gun, and Ance is able to then shoot the bear and make his first bear kill. And so his mom said, you know, like, he's so tough, nicknames him Devil Ance.
His guy has the devil in him or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So he is now referred to as Devil Ance. Well, now in 1862, Devil Ance he distills whiskey, and that's part of what he does. So he's now pissed off at the federal government because they're making it illegal for him to distill. So now when you're talking about Civil War and people choosing alliances and where they're going to go, that maybe plays into it. So you can't say that the McCoys went Union and the Hatfields went Confederate because they're on both sides of this river. So it sort of kind of went with geography. So if there were McCoys or Hatfields that were on the Kentucky side, they went Union. And if there were McCoys or Hatfields on what eventually became West Virginia, they went Confederate, with the exception of the patriarch of the feud on the McCoy side, Randall McCoy. He went Confederate. His brother went Union, and pretty much everyone else went Unions, but he went Confederate. So during the Civil War, there's a lot of raids that were done in the name of the war. Like, you know, Union soldiers would go through and they're like, we're taking livestock, we're taking whatever we need to sustain ourselves during the war. And same thing with the Confederate side. What made this worse is that all of these people were friends, business partners, and family. So now it's not just on this war side. This is taking a personal level. And you need to also remember that these people settled an area that belonged to the Native Americans. And some of the Native Americans were friendly with them and some were not. So these are all people who have fought side by side against Native Americans. They fought, you know, historically in the Revolutionary War together. So, you know, everybody knows ins and outs of things. So it takes like a deeper personal meaning during the whole Civil War.
Was it like that? Remember that movie or that like a mini series, North and South, with Patrick Swayze?
Well, yeah, and when you read the books too, like, I mean, the Civil War, brother turned against brother, and I mean, that's 100% accurate. And so I think this isn't necessarily determined to be the initiation of the feud, but I think Dean King said he felt like it was this. And after reading and listening, to me, it sounds like this had a huge part to it because you already have these, you know, these feelings pre-war, and then it's kind of upturned during the war. And then post-war, you have this still like this wartime resentment that just sort of lasts. The Logan Wildcats were a Confederate kind of like a guerrilla group. There was an actual infantry that was formed, and then this off branch that formed afterward, which was it was comprised of Devil Ance. Jim Vance was his uncle, and Johnson McCoy, who was Devil Ance's best friend. But they kind of made their own little offshoot to sort of guard their area of the Tug River, which was just over the Kentucky border. So just a quick story. This doesn't really play into the feud, but there's this guy named Yankee Bill Francis, William Francis, known as Yankee Bill. He partook in a lot of these raids, and there's something that made Devil Ance mad. But at one point, Devil Ance, along with Randall, so Devil Ance Hatfield, along with Randall McCoy, wanted to take out Yankee Bill. And so they hunted him down. He knew they were coming after him, so he tried to elude them. They find him in a cabin. There's this big shootout. But the reason that story is important is because Randall McCoy and Devil Anse Hatfield, who end up becoming the patriarchs of each family during this feud, were side by side. One part that maybe didn't lead to the feud but also played into it is Asa Harmon McCoy, who he was born in 1828, and he's the brother of Randall. So again, Randall's a patriarch. He was a Union soldier. So 4 days after he joined the Union, he was shot. And this hasn't been verified, but they think that perhaps Devil Anse was the one who shot him. But he survived. He survived and he recovered, and he still continued fighting for the Union. He was injured in a buggy accident while fighting, and so then he was discharged, and he went home. So while the war was now done with him, or for him, it wasn't done to everybody else. And so when he went home, he went outside to the river to get some water. I don't know if it's a river. He went outside to get some water. And as he's getting water, all of a sudden he hears gunshots and like bullets are whizzing by his head. So he dives down, and his wife convinced him. Now, at the time, they had a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and she was pregnant. Ugh. So anyway, his wife is like, you can't stay in our house. They're going to find you. They're going to kill you. So she convinces him to go hide out in the woods. He finds a cave, and he's been staying there, trying to survive. And this posse comes to the house, and he's not there. So they leave. So his 13-year-old daughter, Mary, wants to go warn her dad. So she goes to the cave and she warns her dad, like, hey, they just came to the house. They're looking for you. She goes back home. Unfortunately, it had just snowed. So they were able to trace her tracks to the cave. And, he noticed the tracks as well. And he's like, oh, I'm screwed. I better get out of here. So he tries to get out and hide, but again, he's had this like leg injury, and so he can't move that quickly, and he's killed. There's debate over if it was Devil Anse that killed him, but it's more likely this guy named Jim Vance, which is Devil Anse's uncle.
Why would they want to kill him?
Just because he was Union and they were Confederate.
Okay.
The 8-year-old son, being a little bit old enough to understand what was going on, vowed vengeance. But after Harmon was killed, there wasn't retaliation from the McCoys, and they thought perhaps it was because his brother, Randall, at the time was in a Union prison. So remember, his brother was Confederate. So they think that might be why there wasn't an initial or immediate retaliation. Randall McCoy, like we said, he is a patriarch for the McCoys. He was born in 1825. And he married his first cousin, Sarah. So Sarah goes by Sally, and she was born in 1829. Now, Randall's father did not have a lot of money. Sally's father was more wealthy. Asa Harmon McCoy, we discussed him. He is a brother of Randall who was a Union soldier, and he was killed after the Civil War. Martha, who goes by Patty Klein. I know, nobody has like their name. So she's the wife of Harmon. So from now
Patty
on,
Klein? Her name is Patty Klein?
Why did I say Patty? I want to... Yeah. Patty. Peter Klein is Patty's brother. Perry Klein is also their brother. And he eventually becomes an attorney. He plays a big role in this feud later. Eve of all, who settles kind of the area. Big Eve is Devil Ance's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Vance is Devil Ance's brother-in-law. And I'm going to kind of refer everybody to the patriarchs just because I feel like it makes more sense. Vicey Chaffin is Devil Ance's wife. Ellison was born 1842, and he is Ance's brother. He is well respected. The three brothers, Ellison, Elias, and Ance, all enlisted in the Confederate Army. And Ellison is one who remained in the Army, remained enlisted, and he was very well respected. He ended up becoming a deacon of the church, and he goes by Big Ellison. Elias, Devil Ance's brother and Ellison's brother, goes by Lias, Lias, and he's Good Lias. Preacher Ance is a cousin of Devil Ance.
Okay.
And he's a Baptist minister, a legal, like a justice of the peace, and he aligned with the Union side.
And these are all like the Scottish side. McCoys, right? McCoys are the Scottish side.
This is all Hatfield. McCoy is Scottish.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so this is all the English.
Devil Ance is English.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so the McCoys settled in like Pike County, Kentucky. The Hatfields were primarily in Logan County, West Virginia. But again, they all went all over the place.
Right. Okay.
Perry Klein inherited a lot of land, and somehow Devil Ance kind of swindled him out of a lot of acres of land. So that's just a little note that's happening right here. But post-Civil War, during the Reconstruction era, everyone just focused on rebuilding and pretty much surviving post-Civil War. And so not a lot happened. Recap: Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Harmon was killed in 1865. Reconstruction era happened. Nobody really did anything. So between 1878 and 1879 is our next incident that plays into this feud. So Razorback hogs were in this location. So it's a wild hog, and it's called Razorback because of its features that I'm not going to get into. But
that are abundant in Arkansas.
Right. Razorbacks. So the hogs were, during the summer, they were left to roam free. So so the owners wouldn't have to feed them. They would just go forage and fatten up over the summer. And then in the fall, typically after Thanksgiving, when it was cold enough to where you could actually keep meat and it wouldn't get spoiled, the hogs would be recollected. And when you had your hog, they were marked. So each family had its own. They would clip,
like branded,
but it wasn't like a brand. So it was like they would clip their ears in a certain way,
like a hole punch.
That's exactly what I thought of, was a hole puncher. So they were branded with these ear marks, and then the owners would also. Poor pig. I know the owners would also try to keep tabs on them. They would kind of have a general idea of where their herd of pigs were. Well, at one point, Randall McCoy's pigs, a few of them had escaped, and he's like, we'll get to them later. So it wasn't until around February 1879, I believe, that he went looking for his pigs. So he was able to track it, and he found it on Tom Stafford's property. Tom Stafford, you're going to really understand how confusing this is. So Tom Stafford
is confusing.
I know. He is the son of Randall's sister-in-law. So his wife's older sister's son. It's his nephew.
Okay.
Tom Stafford is also the brother-in-law of Floyd Hatfield, and also the brother-in-law of
Big E, Big Ellison's Hatfield.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Gotcha.
2 Hatfield brother-in-laws. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Randall finds this pig on Tom Stafford's property. And he's like, why you have my pig? And he's like, oh, I just saw the pig. I brought it here. I didn't know whose it was. And he's like, well, it's mine. I'll come get it in the morning. So Randall leaves. Shortly after that, Floyd Hatfield comes over to Tom and he's like, hey, you have my pig. And he's like, well, that's not yours. Randall was just over here and he said it's his. And Floyd's like, no. I can promise you, I can prove to you it's mine. So Floyd Hatfield takes the pig. Well, Randall finds this out and he decides to take legal action. So it sounds like there's like lawsuits happening all the time. People are always going and suing and whatever. Things have changed. People don't do that now, right?
So much.
Okay. So anyway, Randall takes Floyd to trial for stealing his pig. And this is now on the Kentucky side. Preacher Ants, and he's going to be overseeing this whole trial. And he does not want to be accused of having favoritism. So for the jury, which no person wants to get themselves involved with the Hatfields and McCoys. So if you're not a Hatfield or McCoy, you're like, no, I'm not going to be on the jury. So Preacher Ants chooses 6 Hatfields and 6 McCoys to be on the jury. So he brings in, different witnesses. And of course, like every Hatfield is like, it's Floyd's, every McCoy is saying it's Randall's, except for a guy named Bill Staton Sr. And he was married to Nancy McCoy, but he had 2 daughters who were married to the Hatfields. So his allegiance is, you don't really know where it is.
Right.
One of his daughters is married to Floyd Hatfield, who's on trial here. So he said he witnessed Floyd mark the hog with his mark. So he is saying this is Floyd Hatfield's hog. Okay, so you have these testimonies. So now there's a little bit of a hold on. The McCoys are thinking this guy's supposed to have our allegiance and he has a Hatfield's allegiance, even though, he's kind of both. Well, then you have the 6 jurors. So they decided that whoever wins gets the hog. And so you have 6 Hatfields, 6 McCoys. You think it's going to be split down the middle. But Selkirk McCoy, he's a former Confederate, and also 2 of his sons, along with him, work for Devil Ants. And hearing the testimony... Who's a Hatfield, yes. Okay. So hearing the testimony of Bill Staton Sr., he's like, well, he saw Floyd mark the hog. It must be Floyd's hog. So when it came time to make the final judgment, it was not split down the middle. It was in favor for the Hatfields. Okay, so Bill Jr., who's the son of Bill Staton Sr., and Nancy McCoy, ends up getting terrorized after this ruling. The McCoys are mad, and so they're taking their vengeance out on him. So
why?
There was a reason, and I don't remember. So they were kind of terrorizing Staton Sr. and Staton Jr. threw a rock at Randall because of it. He was sick of it.
Okay.
So then they really started terrorizing Staton Jr. There is a guy called Squirrel Huntin' Sam.
Did he hunt squirrel?
He loves hunting squirrels.
Okay.
He's Randall's nephew, Randall McCoy's nephew.
Wait,
However,
what's Sam doing? Oh, he's out hunting squirrel.
Yep.
Sorry.
So he is
right.
Randall McCoy's nephew. But he likes both families. He gets along with both families. Just FYI, he's 6'8" tall and 250 pounds.
Oh, that's a big boy.
Right. So Squirrel Hunting Sam and his brother Paris were walking along.
Oh, it's just Paris.
Yeah. They saw Bill Staton Jr. And now, of course, this story is, you don't know what's the truth, but Staton Jr. was afraid that they were going to try to kill him or something. Words were exchanged. Paris and Bill Jr. were fighting each other. And Squirrel Hunting Sam thought that he was going to kill his brother. So Squirrel Hunting Sam ended up killing Bill Staton Jr.
Okay.
Like
with his hands or like with a gun?
A knife or his hands or a gun.
Oh, so like it was part of like the physical fight. Like
they were all fight. Yeah. So,
okay.
So Squirrel.
I mean, you can't fault that. He's protecting his little brother.
Well, yeah. Sam was stepping back and he was like, I'm going to let this play out.
Right.
And then, his brother was not doing well, so he stepped in.
Getting his butt
So
kicked.
then eventually there was a warrant out for Squirrel Hunting Sam and his brother Paris. So quick rundown. Randall McCoy had a hog. Floyd Hatfield had a hog. They both claim the same hog as theirs. They go to trial, and Bill Stafford Sr. said he witnessed Floyd mark the hog. So the McCoys are met. Floyd McCoy. No, Floyd Hatfield. Floyd Hatfield marked the hog.
Okay.
So the McCoys are now mad at Stafford. Or Staton. There's no Stafford. Mad at they're mad at Staton because Staton's married to a McCoy.
But went for the Hatfields.
But Staton is saying, I saw Hatfield mark the cow. I'm married to a McCoy. So they felt that was a turn.
Mark the
and
pig.
Then, yes. And then Selkin, and I don't know what his last name is, but he is supposed to be a McCoy. He is part of the jury. And he was one of the 6 McCoy side of the jury. He ends up siding with the Hatfields because of this testimony. But it's noted that Selkin, along with 2 of his kids, work for Hatfield.
Okay.
So now Bill
Clear
Staton,
as mud.
Bill Staton Jr. is killed by Squirrel Hunting Sam and Paris. And now there's a warrant out for their arrest. Okay. Oh my gosh. I think we need to take a break here. This is too long.
I agree. It's a lot. Oh my goodness.
Okay. So
it's a lot to process.
It is. And hopefully I got my act together and I have some references that you can look at on our social media to try to help figure out what's happening right now. But we'll pick up this. It's so confusing. I mean, I have all my notes
What
here.
is happening?
I have all my notes here and I didn't take really. I mean, some notes I totally missed and I have no idea who people are or what they're doing. But, okay, we'll pick this up. We're going to give you an extra.
You get a twofer.
You get a twofer tomorrow. So look at that. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Be thankful for that.
Yes. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to reach out to us or submit your situation, please contact us at anothersituationpodcast@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at Another Situation Podcast. We're also on Facebook at Another Situation.
Another Situation is produced and edited by Point 5 Pinoy. Music is written and performed by Tim Crow.